when Schopenhauer wrote that intelligence is an invisible burden. He was describing a psychological phenomenon that modern science has finally validated. The human brain processes intellectual superiority as a threat, triggering the same neural pathways as physical danger. Picture this: sitting alone while others socialize nearby, not because you're socially awkward, but because your intelligence functions as an unconscious mirror, reflecting back others' intellectual limitations. Throughout history, society has built monuments to brilliant minds only after they've endured lifetimes of rejection. This video explores why this happens and reveals strategies that historical figures like Benjamin Franklin and Ada Lovelace used to bridge this divide. There's a more disquieting phenomenon at work than just our brain's threat response, one that explains why even the humblest genius faces rejection. What if your very existence serves as an involuntary mirror? What if, without uttering a single word, your mere presence forces others to see a reflection of their intellectual limitations they would do anything to avoid confronting? This disturbing insight comes from Schopenhauer, who recognized that intelligence functions as an inescapable mirror, like a polished surface that reflects uncomfortable truths back to those who gaze upon it. When an intelligent person enters a room, their existence alone triggers an unconscious self-measurement in others. The intelligent person becomes a walking reminder of what others lack, reflecting limitations that most have successfully avoided confronting. Consider how this manifests in everyday interactions. Have you noticed how quickly certain individuals claim someone thinks they're so smart about a person who has never actually claimed intellectual superiority? This accusation reveals the true nature of intellectual rejection. The mirror forces a self-comparison that feels like being judged, even when no judgment exists. History provides striking examples of this mirror effect's consequences. Isaac Newton, whose extraordinary contributions to humanity should have earned him universal admiration, could hardly maintain a single friendship throughout his lifetime. The mirror he unknowingly held up was so clear, so bright, that few could bear to look at it, or him, for long. Einstein similarly faced the sting of being labeled a fool by his teachers, illustrating how society often marginalizes those whose intelligence reflects our collective limitations. This rejection operates through psychological projection. When confronted with someone more intelligent, people unconsciously project their feelings of inadequacy onto that person, experiencing these emotions as originating from the intelligent individual rather than from within themselves. They think they're better than me becomes the defense when the truth is, I feel inadequate around them. The tragic irony is that genuine intelligence typically breeds humility about the vastness of what remains unknown. Yet, paradoxically, the more humble an intelligent person becomes, the more intensely others feel judged by their presence. The mirror reflects regardless of intent. This explains intelligence's perplexing social puzzle, why intellectual humility rarely shields against rejection. You can downplay your abilities and praise others' contributions, yet still face resistance. The mirror effect operates independently of behavior because it's triggered by essence rather than action. Not by what you do, but by what you are. Ever found yourself in a room where your insights were met with inexplicable resistance? Where your well-reasoned points created visible discomfort rather than intellectual engagement? What if I told you this resistance isn't personal but neurological, a primitive brain response that activates when confronted with higher intelligence? When your brain encounters someone of superior intelligence, something remarkable happens below the level of conscious awareness. Neuroscience research has revealed that the human brain processes intellectual superiority as a literal threat. Brain imaging studies show that when we encounter ideas that significantly outpace our intellectual capacity, our amygdala, like an ancient alarm system that can't distinguish between a campfire and a forest blaze, activates in patterns nearly identical to encountering physical danger. This neural response isn't just metaphorical discomfort. When participants faced intellectual challenges far beyond their capabilities, brain scans revealed activation of the anterior insular cortex, the same neural circuits that process physical pain. This explains why being intellectually outmatched feels genuinely threatening, rather than merely embarrassing. The social context dramatically influences this neurological response. In private settings where participants interacted one-on-one with more intelligent individuals, the threat response remained mild. However, introduce witnesses to our cognitive limitations, and these neural alarm signals intensify dramatically. Why does this social dimension matter so profoundly? Consider this puzzling phenomenon. Why do intelligent people often encounter hostility despite offering nothing overtly threatening? Stanford University researchers have documented how our brains prioritize protecting social status over private self-image. The primitive regions of our brain treat status threats and physical threats identically, both triggering the same cascade of stress hormones and defensive responses. Society celebrates physical prowess, beauty, and wealth openly. Athletes receive adulation, models are praised, and the wealthy enjoy enhanced social access. Yet intellectual superiority triggers unconscious resistance. Someone can display wealth without penalty, but demonstrate intellectual prowess in the wrong setting, and watch social resistance materialize almost instantly. This raises an evolutionary question. Why would natural selection favor a brain that resists intelligence? The answer lies in understanding what intelligence represents to social structures. Unlike physical attributes, intelligence challenges established hierarchies, questions traditions, and introduces potentially destabilizing novel ideas. Anthropological evidence shows early societies developed mechanisms preventing individuals from gaining too much influence through intellectual superiority, not from cruelty, but as a survival strategy preserving group harmony. Our modern brains still carry this ancient programming. Understanding this neurological response transforms how we interpret social rejection. The discomfort you create isn't necessarily because you're socially inept or condescending. Your intelligence unconsciously activates threat responses in others, responses they themselves don't understand but feel compelled to act upon. This invisible mirror becomes even more distorted when we consider its intersection with gender. The reflection cast upon intelligent women isn't merely one of intellectual capability. It's a funhouse mirror that simultaneously exposes one of society's most persistent contradictions. While intelligence creates social friction for anyone possessing it, women face a uniquely impossible equation: the mathematical certainty that increasing their perceived competence will directly decrease their social acceptance. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, a 19th century thinker infamous for his misogyny, inadvertently identified something profound about female intelligence. His observation highlighted a truth that persists today. Intelligent women experience a double bind that men simply don't face with comparable intensity. Modern research confirms this contradiction through what psychologists call the competence-likability trade-off. Imagine walking a cognitive tightrope where each step toward demonstrating expertise pushes you further from social acceptance. The very qualities earning a man respect actively damage a woman's standing, measurable across multiple studies, not merely anecdotal impressions. This dynamic forces intelligent women to make impossible choices: speak with authority, face immediate social penalties, soften with qualifiers, undermine your expertise. This explains why brilliant women throughout history developed sophisticated strategies to conceal rather than showcase their intelligence. The paradox intensifies for women possessing both intelligence and beauty. Beauty attracts attention, while intelligence simultaneously repels it, creating a disorienting landscape where interest abounds but genuine connection remains elusive. These women find themselves perpetually misread, reduced to appearance, or resented for their minds. Intelligent women frequently downplay their capabilities as a calculated survival strategy. They develop a sophisticated social calculus, constantly weighing how much intelligence they can safely display, a mental burden their male counterparts rarely carry. Marie Curie exemplifies this historical pattern perfectly. Despite discovering two elements and becoming the only person to win Nobel Prizes in two different scientific fields, she faced relentless resistance. When nominated for the French Academy of Sciences, she was rejected explicitly because of her gender. Male colleagues continued attributing her work to her husband long after his death. Her genius wasn't celebrated. It was merely tolerated when properly contained. From social media timelines to corporate boardrooms, we're living within structures that silence groundbreaking voices while claiming to celebrate them. This paradox extends far beyond gender limitations into the fundamental architecture of our most celebrated institutions. What if the algorithms determining what content we consume, the hiring practices shaping our workplaces, and the reward systems governing our educational institutions all share one hidden purpose: to protect us from the discomfort of genuinely new ideas? Digital landscapes act as intellectual filters. Social media algorithms, much like sieves that catch only what fits their narrow parameters, favor simplified ideas over nuanced thinking. This emerges from a fundamental truth: depth requires sustained attention, creating discomfort. When users encounter complex ideas, they hesitate rather than engage. Algorithms interpret this hesitation as disinterest. The consequence? Oversimplified content travels virally while thoughtful analysis withers in obscurity. Think about it. The digital world mirrors our physical workplaces with striking precision. Corporate mission statements passionately celebrate innovative thinking and disruptive ideas, yet observe the actual rewards. A disturbing pattern emerges. Not a culture fit frequently translates to makes others intellectually uncomfortable. Organizations filter candidates through processes that prioritize conformity over original thinking. Who succeeds in these environments? Rarely the most intelligent, but those who make others feel intelligent, validating existing beliefs rather than challenging them. They embody what Schopenhauer observed centuries ago. Mediocrity provides social comfort, while intelligence disrupts it. Workplace advancement correlates more strongly with social smoothness than intellectual contribution. Educational institutions perpetuate this pattern with remarkable consistency. While claiming to value original thought, they reward conformity over creativity. Original thinkers find themselves overlooked in favor of those presenting ideas in formats simple enough for everyone to feel included. Truly innovative thinking creates cognitive discomfort, forcing reconsideration of established beliefs, which institutions unconsciously resist. This creates the ultimate social paradox. Society requires intelligence for progress, yet actively resists it. Schopenhauer identified this contradiction. We celebrate geniuses posthumously while rejecting them during their lifetimes. Companies need innovation, yet reject ideas challenging their operational status quo. What makes intelligence threatening is its unpredictability. Physical strength operates within predictable parameters. Wealth follows established rules. But intelligence cannot be fully controlled. It might question anything, disrupt everything. This unpredictability makes intelligence the only power that threatens established systems simply by existing. The solution isn't diminishing your brilliance, but finding those who appreciate it. The very qualities creating friction in typical settings will connect you with intellectual counterparts. People who welcome reflection as opportunity, not judgment. Understanding this paradox empowers you to seek genuine connections. What if your unique perspective isn't a barrier, but your greatest asset in discovering your true intellectual home?